we back. Like, follow, subscribe, man. We've been trying to tell y'all to go on, send y'all information as far as we all want the gift card and everything to go to because it's the reason why we didn't give it out when we got the 500 because nobody sent in the information for us to be able to send a gift card to. So you gotta send your information in. It could be a P.O. box, a fake address, whatever you want to send, so we can send y'all out this gift card. You know what I mean? So subscribe to that. Make sure you hit the subscribe, follow the channel for all the updates, merch, and everything. Um, the thumbnail, we're gonna wait till everybody get in here. Thumbnail, as you see, this is what we touching on. If you don't know who that white guy is, we're gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you who that white guy is. Very important person in the history of the United States. Very important person. He did a lot to the black race. And in the other race, it was not full white. History books really try to bury him. They don't really like to talk about him, but he started a whole lot for this government. Excuse me. And the foundation of his movement. Um, so yeah, we got like 4 minutes before everybody get in here. Before it hit 10 o'clock. But if you haven't, you need to tap in so you damn sure can get a whiff of this. And these is all facts. Everything ain't just about hip hop and gang culture and politics. This is like sort of like politics too. But just the violence and all that. Some things is a history lesson. If you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. I mean, so if you're coming in here, hit the like, subscribe, so we can get into it. So that man that you see on the thumbnail is J. Edgar Hoover. If you don't know who J. Edgar Hoover is, he formed the FBI and the founder of the G-Man. J. Edgar Hoover was how can I say this? He was the hand that wielded the sword for the government. He was under 4 different presidents, and at one point, he held more power than half the presidents. What's going on? He held more power than half the presidents in this country under the 4 he was under. He helped form the FBI, which whole sole purpose was to come after the blacks. Okay? Now, during his time, prohibition was going on, um, and the mafia was going on. He really didn't go after the mafia so much. He really didn't go after the mafia so much until later on, where he had to have pressure. Once the mafia started robbing banks, like Bonnie and Clyde, Pretty Boy Floyd, um, John Dillinger, those guys is when it really forced his hand to go after the mafia. Jerry Hoover was also the one that created the RICO Act. Nah, bro, I ain't. I wish I was John Morant. I ain't John Morant though. But he created the RICO Act, in which it was formed for the mafia. Okay, to where if one person, 1 to 3 people commit an act, as long as they got evidence to tie their end, they can charge all y'all with the same act that the 1 or 2 where 3 individuals committed. And they can try all y'all together and they can convict you on their crimes as if they were your crimes and give you a life sentence. Thank you. And give you a life sentence. That's what J. Edgar Hoover was on. Okay? Not only that, he also went after all black leaders. Okay? He single handedly in this country from I think 19 maybe 50 to 1979 eliminated, incarcerated, or murdered every black leader in this country. And that's a known fact. He eliminated all black groups, single handedly took down half of all black leaders, Malcolm X, uh, uh, Hamilton, Frank Hamilton, Malcolm X, uh, 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 Martin Luther King, um, uh, all the Black Panthers, every single one of them. His sole purpose was to eliminate any black messiah, which they still follow these rules today. That's why you don't have any black leaders popping up no more like they used to. They murdered them all. He was behind them cities getting bombed in Chicago. Fred Hamilton getting killed in that apartment. Um, those college kids that got murdered in L.A. He was behind it all. He was behind it all. J. Hoover was behind it all. He said the biggest threat to the United States is the black messiah. And he meant that. He meant that. And so under his power and his leadership, he formed the FBI and they committed acts of treason and acts of murder and terrorism against all black leaders. Every one of them. And if they didn't kill you, they put you in exile. Tupacalypse aunt, who escaped and ran to Cuba, she was targeted by J. Edgar Hoover. Tupacalypse's mother, she was targeted by J. Edgar Hoover. He eliminated all the early feeding programs the Black Panthers provided to the community where they fed the blacks breakfast and school supplies. And he eliminated all that shit. Okay? He flipped and made informants out of half of the black leaders in their crew. All right? Everybody thinks Malcolm X was killed by the Black Panther. Um, by his camp. You know what I mean? By the Muslims. That's not true. It's not true at all. Malcolm was killed by J. Edgar Hoover. He planted informants amongst his team. He made sure security detail were in jail, were locked up in New York, and they assassinated him on that floor. Okay? J. Edgar Hoover was also behind John F. Kennedy getting murdered. He was behind that too. Um, the man single-handedly eliminated black leaders. He had full backing of the KKK and any pro-white movement. And I don't understand why nobody investigated him, but they didn't. They never investigated him, never bothered him to let him run amok. And he was a cross-dresser too. Yeah, stone cold gay. Cross-dresser. He had a boyfriend for years. Years. A lot of whites do that though. For years. Years. A lot of whites play with pedophilia, homosexuality, That's what they're into. When the Romans would go and fight for months and months and months on end on them battlefields, they didn't have women unless they looted and plundered the villages of the women that in the villages and the towns and the countries where they went and slaughtered everybody. Yeah, but other than that, they slept with each other on them goddamn battlefields. That's what they did. That's what the Romans did. Okay, Catholic Church is the same way. They've been involved in that shit for years, and he was a sole believer in it. Sole believer in it. You know what I mean? But he was also pro-white. So anybody that was a black messiah that spoke up for us, or race, or any other race, as far as ethnicity, as far as mistreatment, as far as equal rights, he murdered you. He employed he employed the FBI. They did counter surveillance. Um, they made informants out of people in your camp, and they set you up and had you murdered. Okay. Um, just like Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton was an informant. Yeah, documented. Came out and said the FBI approached him, and he started working for the FBI. Yeah. Jesse Jackson, he was an informant too. Yeah. Because they knew if they didn't, J. Edgar Hoover would kill him. There wasn't no doubt about it. You know what I mean? There was no doubt about it. They approached Malcolm too. They finally released the tapes, and Malcolm told them I would never testify. I would never, ever flip on my con for y'all. And not even a month later, he was murdered. But they approached Malcolm. You know what I mean? They wanted the Muslims. They thought that they were they were powerful. Um, just like the movie of Malcolm, when a white cop said no black man should have, no one man should have that much power, and they knew Malcolm was powerful. All right, now he was in a house with his family, as far as the Muslims, and but they didn't order his murder. That was J. Edgar Hoover did that. Yeah. See, it's a thing they don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? It's a thing they don't want to talk about. When they were talking about equal rights and all that, he was the forefront saying blacks shouldn't have equal rights in this country. They beneath us. All right? They can't hold prominent jobs in this country. You know what I mean? They beneath us. They called Kennedy a nigger lover. For sure. For sure. Called him a nigger lover. And they murdered him in front of his wife. And they had his own security detail do it. Covered it up, made it seem like Lee Harvey Oswald did it. No. It was the driver and the passenger and the security detail that murdered him and that senator. That's a fact. That's a fact. All right? And that was J. Edgar Hoover. Okay? All the space programs and um, the Martians and aliens and Area 50, that was J. Edgar Hoover. He was involved in that too. He was the one that made the deal. He was there to make the deal too. Powerful man. But they tried to bury him though. They tried to bury him. They don't want too many people to know his history. They made a movie out of him. Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. He starred as it. But they really didn't touch on everything J. Edgar Hoover was doing. They touched on the G-Men, which was junior. They had a G-man and a junior G-man. So what they would do was, if you were teens, 18 and 19, they would recruit you into the FBI. And then if you were a teenager from like 12 to 14, you become a junior G-man. Which means once you get old enough, they will recruit you in the FBI, but they will train you and tell you if you see things in your neighborhood, call us, let us know, this, that, and the third. You know, that's what he was doing. He was real big in the South. Like I said, the Klan was behind him. They pushed his agenda. Um, he was part of the Klan. He was a Klan member. Evil motherfucker. And did not hide his beliefs. He did not hide it. He did not get on TV and change his belief for the public. He got on national TV and spoke what he felt. And he said the greatest threat to the United States is a black messiah. Can you understand that? That's any black leader. Why do you think it took so long for us to have a black president? This country was born on that. Okay, they don't think we're equal. They will never think we're equal. Trump is doing the same thing. He's following the same footsteps as J. Edgar Hoover. All the programs that he is blocking and rescinding are the same programs that was put in place in the 70s from the Black Panther movement and any other black base that appealed to the Supreme Court. They had them change the Constitution and put these programs in place. It's the same programs he's cutting. Okay, now he openly can't get out there and say the same thing J. Edgar Hoover did. No, but actions speak louder than words. Okay, so if you know your history and you know what type of person J. Edgar Hoover was, you will see Trump is following the same footsteps as he is. It's just that he ain't targeting blacks. He targeting Mexicans and Latins. He's not targeting blacks because he know that ain't gonna stand. See, back then the Mexicans had no voice. We were trying to fight for a voice, let alone them. So they were no factor. We were the factor. Okay, we were marching across bridges and all that. When Martin Luther King marched across that bridge in Montgomery and they set them dogs and shit on him, that was J. Edgar Hoover that met him on that bridge. Okay, that was J. Edgar Hoover that had him shot in that apartment. I mean, in that hotel room. That was J. Edgar Hoover. And that was J. Edgar Hoover and Jesse Jackson as the mole. Jesse Jackson told him what hotel room he would be in, who would be in there with him, and I'm going to call him to the balcony. And that's exactly what he did. And the rest is history. So, if you want to know how this country was founded and who built the United States, far as from 19, I want to say 49 to 1979, it was that man, J. Edgar Hoover. And you can go fact check anything I'm saying, and they're going to tell you the exact same thing. He founded the federal government, for sure. Spearheaded it, for sure. And he made sure to eliminate anybody with color that was opposing anything this government stood for. And understanding what you mean. Yeah. It's deep shit, man. This country was founded on bloodshed, tyrants, war, savagery, murder, kidnapping, rape, torture, mutilation. That's what this country was built on. The United States eats its own and spits them out. That's a fact. No doubt about it. It all depends. If you coming in peace, blood, I don't even know where you from. Hope your situation changed though. Well, if that's the case, I definitely got a spot where you could stay at, dog, on the set. But I don't even know where you from. If you from out west, I might can't help you, bro. I ain't out west. Yeah, man, it's deep shit. This country was found, man. There's so much wild shit. They don't want us to know. They'd rather keep us entertained and occupied with bullshit than what the facts really is. We will never be equal to these motherfuckers. So why try to be? We'll never be equal. Every time we get to the finish line, they move the line back 10 more feet. You understand? So at this point, it's wise we running a race. If every time you go get to the finish line, you win the race, they move the finish line 10 more yards away, 100 more yards away, and you still running, no doubt. But I ain't from LA, blood, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's bad out in LA right now. I feel you, dog. Oh yeah, for sure we ain't cutting you. And that's what I'm trying to tell motherfuckers. Jerry Hoover showed you that we ain't created equal. And what's fucked up is he was up under 4 different presidents and doing it. He murdered motherfuckers year after year after year. They're not being investigated for these crimes. They finding black men handcuffed with 2 bullets in the back of their head. They ain't taking nobody to jail and investigating nobody, and he behind it all. 4 different presidents he was under, and none of them said anything. None of them. They let that motherfucker run amok for damn near a decade and a half until he got sick. And what really happened is he got sick and he caught dementia. So once he caught dementia, they relieved him from his post. But they created all type of federal buildings and federal courthouses for him and appointed J. Edgar Hoover awards for him for a certain motherfucker. They got awards in his name. They got federal buildings and federal courthouses in his name. And all he did was terrorize and torture and murder men in this country and women. And women. And this is a known fact. Known fact. But this is one motherfucking history they don't talk about. So I know once this thumbnail go up and they see this, they're gonna be like, who the fuck is he talk? Why the fuck would he talk? Who is he? And how, what, and his nerve to talk about him. Yeah. And what happened was I seen something today on Fred Hampton in Chicago about them going up in that house and killing everybody in that house except for that woman. Stuck a pistol to her stomach and told her you ain't see nothing. And then Fred was to the lie. They went back in the room and shot him up some more. And it was the FBI that did it. FBI that did it. Yeah. They got a movie out where them boys is in New York, California, and they set the building on fire. And they kill all them boys inside that house, inside that apartment. That was J. Edgar Hoover and FBI. For sure. Medgar Evers. That was the J. Edgar Hoover. I can go on and on. On and on. Leaders of the Black Panther Party. Huey Newton and them. That was J. Edgar Hoover. Set him up on drug deals. Act like it was drug deals and had him murdered. J. Edgar Hoover. He was the one that started selling drugs in this country and moving it through the CIA. He started that. He didn't finish it because by the time Reagan got in office, he was gone. But he started that though. The United States been selling drugs through the FBI and all that. He started that though. For sure. J. Edgar Hoover. No doubt. It was Hoover. And he wasn't apologetic for it. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, brother. That's why you gotta know your history. Once you know your history, you know where you come from, you know what it is. So, I'm gonna go and sign off from this video so we can try to get this out, man. Like, follow, subscribe. I tell y'all, and I insist on y'all, do your history. Find out the real, the fake, and the phony. And we out. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you can be entered into the drawing, man. We only got like maybe 20 something, maybe 19 more subscriptions, and we at 600. And we gotta give it away at 6, so stay hitting that button. Much love, and we out.